take some questions.
Back up your government's tough rhetoric and conduct freedom of navigation exercises within 12 nautical miles of contested features in the South China Sea, like the US does and has already requested of us.
Look, we will continue to work closely with our allies and partners in ensuring that the South China Sea is free and open. And we work as part of a partnership. We work with Japan, we work with India, we work with European nations, UK, Germany. Has undertaken sails through the South China Sea, as indeed we have. 12 nautical miles is a separate issue, and these are options that Australia always has. And we will work closely with our allies and partners about the best way to ensure we work together to achieve a free and open Indo-Pacific. Now, one of the key things there is the South China Sea Code of Conduct. Now, that is a topic of, I would say, every single bilateral leaders meeting I've had with every ASEAN nation. Remember, Australia was the first country to achieve a comprehensive strategic partnership with ASEAN. They're the Southeast Asian nations, and that was before, in fact, the Chinese government were able to achieve that. And a core issue in our engagement with those Southeast Asian partners is about a free and open Indo-Pacific, and in particular, the Quad relationship, that's with Australia, India, Japan and the United States. A free and open Indo-Pacific is a key part of that discussion, which we have led the development of. In particular in Japan, we have the Reciprocal Access Agreement. What's that? It's basically a status of forces agreement with Japan. We are the only country in the world to have such an agreement with the Japanese government. And that was a landmark agreement that frankly took us, and under my primership, 3 years to land, and we worked through 3 Prime Ministers. Lani.
Your candidate for Flynn, not too far from here, has said that there's... Your former Resources Minister has backed that in this morning on Sky News. Can you be trusted on climate change?
What our candidate in Flynn was talking about is how we get there. He wasn't talking about the commitment himself, and he's clarified that today. Our commitment to net zero by 2050 is a commitment of the Australian government that I made in Glasgow. It is the government's absolute policy. What he was referring to is our pathway to it. And as technologies change and improve, then of course we're going to get there, and we're going to get there by the best method possible. But I'll tell you how we're not going to get there. We are not going to get there by taxing Australians. We're not going to get there by shutting down businesses like this and industries like this. The carbon credits scheme that Labor has put in place, just to be clear, it not only affects the coal industry, it affects mining and oil and gas production, it affects rail freight, it affects cement production, it affects fuel refining, and many other sectors are caught up in those arrangements, which would see them penalised and taxed. See, our approach is to incentivise the change. Our approach with the hydrogen hubs, carbon capture, use and storage, $22 billion of investment under the plan that Angus Taylor has put together to get us to net zero by 2050 through technology, not burdensome taxes on the Australian people, which has always been Labor's way. And as you'll see, Labor would govern with the Greens, and it will be Greens that will be pulling Labor's strings. They'll certainly never be pulling my strings, ever.